Anytime there's a PvP event, I always use the exact same deck to quickly bang out the 5 wins, and it has not failed me yet. Now, I'm not here to claim that I created this deck. It's an old meta deck that's been around for quite a while, and I certainly did not invent it. And I'm also not here to claim that this is the strongest deck in the entire game and it will always get you first place in a tournament. But I am here to claim that when it comes to beating random players during the win spree events, this deck is astonishingly consistent, and most people play it wrong. Of course, I am talking about the Starmie EX Articuno EX deck, which most people think is heavily reliant on Misty RNG, but that's simply not the case. The beauty of this deck is that it has almost no RNG reliance, and it applies massive early pressure, and it consistently baits opponents into early surrenders. So in this video, I'm going to make sure you're playing this deck properly, because most people think that this deck lives and dies by how and when you use your Misty, but in reality, this deck lives and dies by how and when you use your Sabrina. Many of the top meta decks right now take a while to set up. Mewtwo needs to draw Ralts, and then Kirlia, and then Gardevoir. Celebi needs to draw Spivey into Servine, into Serperior. Charizard, of course, needs Charmander, into Charmeleon, into Charizard. Even Gyarados needs 4 turns to build energy without getting a lucky Misty. But Starmie? Starmie waits for nobody. Now, you're not going to be able to pull this off in every match, of course, but this deck even has the ability to win on turn 1. I can play Celebi EX as well. Can I get an instant win? If I get enough energy, I just instant win. Yes, I get a free instant win. It's awesome. It's so awesome. Let's go. Turn 1 win, baby. All you get to do this match is spectate. You load in, you place your card, you lose. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, Misty. So outplayed. Now obviously that's the result of some lucky coin flips with Misty. However, the beauty of this deck is that Misty is a free win condition, as you just saw, but by no means a loss condition. You do not need to hit your Misty coin flips, or you can have perfectly average luck and hit a single heads with Misty, and that 1 extra energy is a massive advantage, but you are not beholden to coin flips with this deck. So let's talk first about what makes it so consistent. Well, firstly, you have a very tanky, very safe, immediate front line, because you only have 2 basic Pokemon you're going to draw: Staryu and Articuno EX. And Articuno EX is immediately very tanky with 140 HP. So if you draw Articuno, you have a solid front line. However, if you happen to draw a Staryu instead, if you get a Pokeball, because you're only running those 2 basic Pokemon, you now have a 66% chance on even a single Pokeball to draw an Articuno. And then Staryu can retreat for 1 energy, or you can evolve it into Starmie EX after 1 turn, and then you can retreat for free. That's if you even want to retreat, because Starmie EX has 130 HP itself. Not only that, but because you don't need any X speed for Starmie EX, you can save them for Articuno, who only actually costs 2 energy to retreat, meaning even if you only have 1 X speed, then you can just spend your 1 energy from that turn and retreat an Articuno EX. So it's easy to get these high health Pokemon onto the board, and it's easy to get them out before they get KO'd. However, the real threat of this team is just how quickly they can amass a ton of damage. As you saw, it's possible with a lucky Misty to get a bunch of damage on turn 1, but that's pretty non-standard. However, what's perfectly standard is getting a ton of damage on only your 2nd turn. For example, if you go 2nd, you're able to play Staryu and put 1 energy down and do 20 damage. And if you're able to draw one of your Starmie EXs, which you have decent odds of drawing by the time you're going into turn 4, which is only your 2nd turn, you can put just 1 more energy, and now Starmie EX will hit for another 90 damage, which means you've dealt a total of 110 damage, and your opponent has placed 1 energy on 1 Pokemon in almost all circumstances. That is a ton of damage to be doing out of the gate, and you're not relying on any coin flips to hit that. Although matchups against electric type decks are of course going to be a bit more challenging because you're elemental countered, by no means is it a lost cause, because the most popular electric deck right now is Pikachu, and Pikachu relies on having a lot of benched Pokemon. But if you come out the gate swinging and you're easily able to do high damage right from the jump, you're going to be able to take out a bunch of those weaker Pokemon, which means even though Pikachu can get its energy quickly, if it doesn't have enough benched Pokemon behind it, it's still not going to hit very hard. And Pikachu doesn't exactly have a ton of HP, so it's not too hard to get Pikachu to back down before Pikachu can build up enough damage. However, as I mentioned at the start of this video, the key to using this deck is using your Sabrina well, because this deck is all about coming out swinging and you want to make sure you're hitting the right targets right away. Most people, when they use this deck, will go for any immediate kill that they can get. If they see an opportunity to kill the first Pokemon in front of them, they're going to, just to get some points on the board. However, in most situations, the actual most effective way to use this deck is to use your Sabrinas early to go after big threats that your opponent is setting up. Do they have a Charmeleon on their bench that's already got 3 energy? Force them to swap it in and hit it real hard and force them to burn energy retreating it. Does your opponent have a Celebi that they're trying to load up so it can get away with a bunch of coin flips? Bring it in and smash it with Starmie for 90 damage, meaning that if it doesn't immediately kill you on its next turn, it has to run away or be taken out. Not only is this a viable strategy for just actually winning the match, because by the time your opponent actually has the right amount of energy on their EX, you've crippled them and you're 1 turn away from just taking them out anyway. But even if that's not the case, this often disrupts other players so much that they tend to just go for the concede. As soon as they start sweating the match and it looks like it's not going to plan and they thought that they were going to bring them in on the next turn and hit you real hard, but now all of a sudden they're missing a bunch of health and they haven't been ready to attack yet, it tends to catch so many players off guard by disrupting them so significantly, so early, that they tend to just concede. I've beaten many players just by hitting one of their EXs right before it was about to actually be intentionally put on the field, meaning that it was only going to get 1 big attack before it would have had to retreat or be KO'd, and this is often enough to persuade a player to concede. However, there's another important Sabrina tech that you can use with this deck that a lot of people forget or tend to overlook, and that is intentionally saving an opponent's active Pokemon, at least briefly. What I mean by that is this. If you're attacking an opponent's active Pokemon, and you know that you're not able to kill them, but you are able to drop them down to 30 or 20 HP, you can intentionally use a Giovanni to bring that enemy Pokemon down to 20 or 10 HP, and then when you start the following turn, use your Sabrina. Sure, you could have had a kill, but if you have Articuno on the board, you can use Articuno's Blizzard and it will do 10 damage to each of the benched Pokemon. Which means that your opponent will be forced to switch someone in who's healthy to absorb the brunt of the damage. Meanwhile, the Pokemon they benched will either immediately get KO'd or will be within 10 HP of getting KO'd, at which point, as long as your Articuno is able to attack 1 more time, you're going to get that kill anyway. I use this all the time to get double kills, and it really throws a wrench in opponents' plans. This deck has very consistently carried me through PvP win spree events on both my free-to-play alt, which is what you're seeing in this video, as well as on my main account, so I wanted to be sure to highlight it and talk about ways to play this deck to its maximum potential, because I think a lot of people overlook just how disruptive you can be by just doing a bunch of damage really early and making sure to always target a Pokemon that your opponent thought was safe in their backline. Of course, I don't assume that this is the only possible deck that you could use for getting a 5-win spree, so I am curious, if you guys are using different decks that are very, very consistent for you, please let me know in the comments below. Some people may not be able to assemble this deck and will be looking for other suggestions, but if there's a deck that very consistently performs for you in these win spree events, definitely let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, the last bit of news I want to share with you guys is that we have made big changes to our early access which used to be done through Discord server subs and is now done through a Patreon. So I've got the Patreon link in the video description as well. What I'm referring to when it comes to the early access is, of course, we have a reroll academy of players generating lots of god packs for you guys to wonder pick from, and we typically post them in an early access section for 24 hours so that people can easily access them and get on those friends lists. And then after 24 hours, 100% of the packs that go into early access are then made available for everyone to be able to wonder pick from for free. Because we're not looking to gatekeep any of these packs, we want you guys to have all of them for free. But if you want to support the channel and help us out, show some love, then for $5 a month, you can do that via the Patreon. And as a thanks, we'll try to make it easy for you to get early access to the god packs that we are rerolling ourselves. And of course, if you want to join the Reroll Academy, you can do that as well. So just join the Discord and you'll find the link for that. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for the support. I am so thankful for the response that the Pokemon content is getting on this channel, so of course I'm going to make sure that I keep delivering it for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the God Packs. I only need one more card to complete my 2-star collection, which is a full art Aerodactyl, so if you happen to see a good pack with a couple full art Aerodactyls, give me a tag on Discord so I can try to get it. But again, I'm very thankful for you guys. Thank you for enjoying the content. I'm going to wrap up this video. I will see you guys real soon. Until next time. Peace!